What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Straight Betting. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd, and MLB best bets for today. Obviously, guys, before I start every video, I'm going to start it with saying the exact same thing in case there's a new audience here. I weight these. I do not actually bet these when I quote unquote give these out as actual plays because I do use projections and I do like to wait till the actual lineup is out, along with I don't like getting CLV. So I like betting before first pitch. So if you guys do want to go 0-2 for minus 2.25 units every single day, make sure to join the Discord down below. Because that's where I actually give out my real picks, but I'm just doing this for content and for to showing you guys, maybe you guys are cool betting early in the day, what I would be on if I were betting right now. So anyways, guys, we're starting off with the recap, man. Was not pretty. I wish we could have got it off to a good start on the, official picks, quote unquote. But yeah, we did not do that. We went 0-2. Richard Fitz, guys. I actually made this an official play. There was a report that said that he was going to throw 75 to 80 pitches, and when I, switched his pitches thrown to that, I had a pretty decent edge on his over, and I think it was at plus 105 only, but it still had a really good edge. And this dude gave up like 6 runs in the first inning, so yeah, he got pulled after the first inning. So I mean, that happens, right? I mean, pretty outlier performance. Like obviously his median pitches thrown was supposed to be around 77, so he just didn't have his stuff. It happens. Like I said, guys, this is a long season. Do not be discouraged. Logan Webb, the leg, that was a great juicer. So glad I did that, right? Because Joe Ryan looked great, man. And then he just had an inning where he gave up a ton of hits. And he also did not go over. So yeah, went 0-2 for minus 2.25 units. Not great, but it happens. All right, guys, before I get into going over these picks, I just quick ask, if you guys do enjoy this type of content, make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel. It just goes a long way. It's greatly appreciated. It's like a free way to support me. So look, man, if you do find this content having any sort of value, just make sure to like and sub to the channel. All right, guys, so best bets for today. I'm gonna start off with the strikeouts, and I actually don't have any official strikeout looks. I will say do have a pretty decent edge on Lance McCullers. I will say, guys, this is a small sample size thing where he's not qualified for his K rate against lefties, so it's just using his projected line, but he is qualified against righties, I believe, or it's one or the other. And he right now has like a 40% strikeout rate against one of the splits, which is like really skewing his number. So always I'm being cautious about that, staying away from that. Paul Skeens, I have a prop on Paul Skeens. I would play his under at minus 142. It actually moved it. I checked this before. Would play this, but I have a different Paul Skeens prop that I'm going to play. And then, guys, Sandy Alcantara, again, guys. So he's playing against the Rockies on the road, right? And it's just the Rockies. I checked this right before. I think that they have like a 6% worse K rate as a team over the last 30 days on the road than at home. And obviously, guys, it's because Coors Field is so high up in the altitude. It's great hitters ballpark. There was like a study or something that came out. I remember hearing this a couple years ago that like breaking balls just like don't break as much because of the altitude. And yeah, so there's like some like park factors that are like skewing their stuff. So I talked about this yesterday, but I'm probably just going to stay away from, Rocky stuff in these projections until I, get a fix for it or, yeah. So I'm staying away from that. Another one that I was close to playing real quick was Bowden Francis under 4.5 strikeouts. And if we go here, I'll quick go over it for a little bit. But Toronto, where's Toronto, man? Oh yeah, Philly at Toronto. So yeah, Bowden's a guy, his pitch count has like really been trending down. Like he's had, I believe, less than 80 pitches in 7 or 6 out of his last 8 starts. So yeah, he's been really trending down, and it's a pretty tough matchup against Philly, as you can see here, guys. Even like Schwarber's not really been striking out at an under league average against righties. So it's like Max Kepler is like their best K target, I think, and he doesn't even project to strike out that much. So I mean, it's Brandon Marsh, but yeah, this Phillies team is like really tough to strike out against righties recently, especially. So yeah, Bowden Francis is like probably my favorite lean under. I'm just gonna wait this one. There's a good chance I end up on this. It's just one that I'm gonna wait out and probably play at like a exchange, right? So I can get a better number on that. All right, so first official play, guys. Going over to the walks. These are the walk projections. First play, Paul Skeens over 1.5 walks at plus 165 at Caesars. So, guys, I have Paul Skeens at 1.8 walks. And guys, admittedly, like I said, my walks always skew over a little bit, even though they really have been like my best prop by far. So I don't one of someone I know who does projections says that umps have really been tightening up the zone in an effort to bring hitting back a little bit to baseball. So maybe that's actually like my maybe my projections are actually like accurate to an extent, and it's like everything is like kind of skewing over. That's probably not the case, but I mean this is like a very high percent difference, right? When you this also might be off a little bit, but when you like take a plus 165 and like a minus 235, so it's obviously very, very juiced to the under. It's pretty close to like a one projection. Like I said, I don't think it's exactly one, but it is pretty close to a one projection. Like I said, I do have 1.8. So if we go over to Paul Skeens, where is it? It is Pittsburgh at Houston, and I am absolutely blind right now. So here's Skeens walk numbers on the right, as you can see where I'm hovering over. So Skeens against right-handed batters, this is like where the number is going to come from. So 7.69% walk rate. Like obviously his walk rates are pretty low for the most part. But yeah, weighted when you like weight that, it gets to like 7.29. And the thing is, guys, the league average righty on righty walk rate is 7.5%. So he's actually very close to like a league average pitcher against righties when it comes to like how much like he walks them. And the thing about the Astros lineup, and even guys, so it's like all these guys are righties. Astros usually have 8 righties. So like this Jacob Melton dude, maybe I'm just a casual, but like he's usually not in the lineup. And this is obviously a projected lineup. The only lefty who's usually in the lineup is Victor Caratini, who's a switch hitter. But they usually run eight lefties or 8 righties, one lefty, and it's this Victor guy. But yeah, it's like they're gonna have like minimum 7 righties in their lineup, and like I'm actually very confident in that because, like I said, I do these projections every day. I see how many righties they always have. So yeah, I mean, pretty much all of his at bats are going to be against righties, and when Skeens is facing righties, he's pretty much like league average when it comes to like walking people. So that's kind of like where this 1.8 number is coming from for Skeens. And yeah, it's like I mean, all this stuff adds up a little bit. Like it's not, the Astros aren't even like a crazy like tough matchup or anything. It's just that like the fact that Skeens is like most pitchers, especially Skeens, who like on like a median is throwing 100 pitches, right? So pitchers who are going to throw 100 pitches, like if you're like close to like league average against at walking people, especially like in a specific matchup, yeah, you're probably going to throw 2 walks. You're probably going to walk 2 batters more than you don't. So that's like where this number is kind of coming from. I really like this. Obviously, guys, it's plus 165. So I just see like a ton of value here on Skeens to walk 2 guys. And that's going to be the first play. Before I give them my second prop, guys, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Novig and ProphetX peer-to-peer exchange apps. Look, man, all I'm about to say today is that I made 4 bets. Like I said, yesterday was a crappy betting day, but I did make 4 bets. And of course, guys, all 4 of them were on exchanges. I can't stress it enough. I'm saving like, it feels like 10 to 15 cents a bet. I had a bet where it wasn't even really on my radar, but it was 1.5 walks for Drew Singer or Brady Singer, my bad. It was like minus 175 at every single book. It's best price in market. I check Novig and it is minus 140. So it's just like that was literally a 35-cent difference. It made such a big difference in my projections. It made like a stay away to a play. So like I said, man, I can't stress it enough. MLB is tough to beat. You're gonna need to be getting the best prices. So make sure to check out Novig and ProphetX. I have them both linked down below in the descriptions. Make sure to download them and use code BETTIN, BETTIN, when you're making your first deposit, and they'll give you like a little bonus for using code BETTIN. So make sure to go check those out down below. Second play, Tomoyuki Sugano, I believe that's how you pronounce it. We can go back over to the projections, and he is right here. As we can see, I have him for 0.96 walks. And like I said, guys, my projections obviously skew over. So when I do see like an under with a pretty big percentage, obviously, guys, this Cade Horton guy is like another example of like a super small sample size pitcher. So like right now he has crazy splits against one side, but it's like really small sample. So I'm kind of choosing to ignore that. Yeah, this dude's been pitching for a while. Sugano. If we go down here, man, Sugano is such a good pitcher at limiting walks. His stuff's going to be on the right, and I'll quick zoom in here a little bit. But yeah, walk rate against righties, 4.8%, against lefties, 3%. And like I said, man, this isn't like small sample size stuff. So he's just like really, really good at limiting walks. I believe that he is under in, when I checked, it was like 8 out of 11 games. and his max that he's had in a game is only 2 walks. So very, very good, like pitcher at controlling his stuff. Obviously, guys, the Mariners are kind of a tough matchup. If we go down to like here, like Cal Raleigh's been walking a ton, Rosarena, JP Crawford, and like some of these guys, all these guys have decent projections. Yeah, especially Raleigh, right? Because Raleigh's just been walking like so much recently. But besides that, man, nothing really too crazy. Obviously, you got Randy and JP, but the rest of the guys are, and Cole Young, you could make the case for him too. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff is like multiplied together with you know, how they fare against Sagano. Like, and Sagano, the thing is against lefties too. Like the lefties thing is like 3% walk rate, and he's a righty, so he's obviously going to be facing a ton of lefties all the time. So this is, like I said, this is a big sample size stuff. Cal Raleigh, this guy, with his high projected walk rate against righties, is going to be hitting lefty, so that's going to negate him a little bit with like that multiplier right there. Same with Crawford, and let's see, same with like Cole Young, all these guys. So like I guess the only person is like Randy Arozarena, who is a righty. And yeah, man. So I mean, that's how you get the numbers. But 0.96, like I said, this dude has great control. I just think that like a non-super juiced under 1.5 walks for Sagano is probably going to be a pretty good bet most of the time. And yeah, he's just been great, man. And like I said, like 10 times already, this is just like not very small sample size stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with it. Trust who he's been so far this year, and who he's been so far this year is a guy who does not walk people much at all. So minus 128 at Caesars, under 1.5 walks for Sugano of the Orioles. All right, and then this is, we're gonna dip into the hits allowed market again. Gonna go back to fading a team that we faded yesterday and it didn't work. But Pablo Lopez of the Twins under 5.5 hits allowed. We can zoom in a little bit here. As you guys can see, I have Pablo at 4.63 hits allowed. It's like the highest percentage difference to the over or under on this year. So yeah, 20% on the dot for Pablo, minus 110 at Caesars. And yeah, if we go to the Twins at the Athletics, it's probably going to look, if you guys watched the video yesterday, it's probably going to be somewhat similar to the reasoning behind that. But yeah, Pablo Lopez, man, this is him right here. He's been great against righties. So specifically against righties. He's only giving up a 1.47 batting average. Lefties, he's been much worse. But if we go to this Athletics lineup, usually teams like to stack lefties on righties. This A's lineup projects to have 5 righties in the lineup, which is probably a lot more than Pablo faces on average. Jacob Wilson, like I said, you want the high batting average guys to be righties, just because Pablo is really, really good against them. Jacob Wilson is going to be projected to not have a great batting average, who is like by far their best. And then it's like Lawrence Butler, who is also a guy who, maybe Lawrence Butler has a pretty good matchup against Pablo, but yeah, outside of that, it's like, this is pretty low. 231, 228 is pretty low, especially like 231 for a righty, 219 for a righty. Pablo should be good against that. Another 254 average, which is like pretty good. But that's also, going up against Pablo, who is, great against pitching against righties. So yeah, if we scroll over here, man, you add all these guys up, do the math on these guys, weight them against Pablo and how good he is against splits. You only get to 463 or 463. Yep. He's going to give up 463 hits. No, but you only get to 4.63 hits allowed. And, I do have Pablo going pretty deep into the game, throwing, I believe, 94 pitches. He's not going to face a ton of batters because he is kind of a high strikeout rate guy. So his pitches per plate appearance is pretty high. I have him facing 23.1 batters. A lot of these guys, he should just strike out. And yeah, so think that this is also like a pretty decent look. Obviously, it's my biggest hits allowed projections. I like to look for that 20% range for the hits allowed, and Pablo fits that with under 5.5 hits allowed, minus 110 at Caesars. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. Like I said, 3 plays here were Paul Skeens over 1.5 walks plus 165 at Caesars. Tomoyuki Sugano under 1.5 walks minus 128 at Caesars. Pablo Lopez under 5.5 hits allowed minus 110 at Caesars. Like I said, guys, make sure to shop around. Check all the spots, check all the exchanges, all that good stuff, and yeah, make sure you're getting the best price in the market all the time. Super important for baseball, which is definitely one of the harder sports to bet on. So that's why it's just super important to get the best number. And yeah, Make sure to drop a like, sub the channel if you like this type of content, and we'll catch you guys next time.